4 to the 12th plus another sperm, which is 4 to the 12th. And that would be the answer. Okay? Right. Any questions? We're making pretty good progress. Now let's do number 8, page 28. By the way, you may or may not notice I've not read any of these questions over. I just do it kind of on the spur of the moment, trying to figure things out. Okay? Okay, let's do, this is page 28, number 8. And the reason why I did this in this order is I've tried to clump them a little bit by the approaches. Okay, how many types of gametes can this individual make here? 2. A or A plus. How many types of gametes can this individual make here? 2. B or B plus. How many types can this individual make here? 4. How many here? 1. How many here? 2. Because FG plus, or FG, FG, FG plus, they're the same. So that's how many you can make. So it's sort of the same logic that we used there, right? Okay? Any questions on this? No questions? That took how long? 30 seconds. Good job. Yes, question. What does the last sentence of number 8 mean? Oh, so I had to put this in here because if I have a locus like this, all right, let's give me the nucleotides. A, C, G, T, C, T, okay? If I have like that, and then this is the homolog here, and corresponding is an A, a G, a G, a C, a T. And this is the locus B, let's say, B plus and B. If I don't allow crossing over, it's either the B plus or the B. But if I get crossing over, and you know homologous chromosomes pair up, if they cross over within the gene, if I do something like this and cross over, this now becomes ACGCT, which was new, and this becomes AGTCT, which is new. So in fact, with crossing over, we can get an infinite number here, because we can potentially get crossing over within the locus. It's not very likely, but it can happen, so that's why I have to just add that little sentence there, okay? For the student who thinks, well, I cross over within a gene, but that's really unlikely, but it could potentially happen, so I just toss that little line in there to avoid that scenario, okay? But sometimes when I toss in a line that seems kind of unrelated, it's to avoid the student who overthinks the problem and then comes up with the wrong answer, okay? So sometimes, so does that make sense why I put that in? Yes, who asked? Does it make sense? Okay? So, all right, let's do this. Here's the chromosome, here's the C locus, here's the D locus, here's the C plus, the D plus. Let's do crossing, let's do duplication. I don't think there's a board. Oh, there is, excellent. So I get C, D, color code it now, C plus, D plus, C plus, D plus. And we've talked a lot about getting crossing over between loci. So that would give us CD, a parental, C plus, D plus, and the recombinant C, D plus, and the recombinant C plus, D. So we've talked a lot about that. Okay. But notice, even if I had crossing over within here, so now I'm looking at just the C locus. So now I have just the C, and I have a sequence like this. And I have a sequence like this. When I cross over, I now get a mixture within the C locus, and that's different than what this was, and this is different what that is. So within a locus, and it occurs, we could generate many, so you could never really effectively do this problem. It'd be infinite times infinite times infinite no matter what. So I add that little sentence in there so you ignore this and only focus on that. Crossing over between the loci occurs, but not within. So not between C and C plus, not between D and D plus. Okay? I'm sorry, that's the best I can do. Hopefully it helped. Okay? All right, so what we're going to do now, did we already do this one? Is that the one we just did? Yes. So now we're on to page 7, number 5 and 6. So go ahead and take a little bit of time to do this, and I'll write on the board. So I'll give you a couple minutes to do the problem, and then I'll show you how to solve it. Any of you got the answer? Okay, about 15, 20 hands. Let's quick do this. First off, the first question is asking which way did the gel run, right? Was it towards the top or bottom? This is a smaller piece. Did the smaller pieces migrate faster or slower? Faster, so the gel migration was in this direction. It's fine. We just take the gel and flip it over and take a photograph. Happens occasionally. People accidentally put the gel in wrong, they take the photograph, they have to realize which way it migrated, okay? In fact, I saw a couple of our photos in lab like that. Okay, now, PCR product has the same intensity as this. Intensity is based upon the mass of DNA. Remember how we just did that 1,000 molecules that are bigger versus the 1,000 molecules that are smaller? The 1,000 that were bigger had more mass, so they had more fluorescence. So in this case, we see these two bands are equivalent. So that tells us in our PCR we had 480 nanograms. Remember, the purpose of the gel was threefold. 1, to tell us if we had a product. 2, to tell us the size of the product, which is 100 base pairs. And 3, to tell us the quantity. Okay? Now it asks us to determine what's the concentration of DNA in the PCR product. So we need to know we use 10 microliters for this. So let's figure out how much a mole of this DNA would weigh. Okay? And clearly, a piece of DNA that's 100 base pairs will weigh less per mole than one that's 200. So what we can do is 100 base pairs is the same as 1 times 10 to the 2. And the molecular mass for a mole of base pairs is 600 grams. Now notice, I can give you the molecular mass for average weight for nucleotide. What would that be? 300. What would it be for base pair? 600. So I can give you either parameter and you can figure out the other one, okay? So just be sure you're using the correct one. So if I had a mole, it would weigh 6 times 10 to the 4th grams. Do I have 6 times 10 to the 4th grams? No. So I need to figure out how much I have. So I got 480 nanograms, that's times 10 to the minus 9th grams. And if it was a mole, it would be 6 times 10 to the 4th grams per mole. So that's going to tell me the number of moles. I can't work with units like this, so I usually make this 4.8 times 10 to the minus 7th grams. 6 times 10 to the 4th. That's going to give me 0.8 times 10 to the 11th, minus 11 moles. Someone correct me if I did the math wrong, because I was talking while I did the math in my head. Is that correct? Okay, great, thank you. That's the number of moles. But how much did we load? 10 microliters. So molarity is moles per liter. This is 10 microliters. I'm going to have to multiply this by a number. So 1 times 10 to the 6 microliters per liter. And then we had 10 microliters here. Those units will cancel. 10 to the 6. 10 is 1 times 10 to the 1. So this should be times 10 to the 5th. So if I'm correct, doing the math in my head, it should be 0.8 times 10 to the minus 6 moles per liter. Is that an answer? Yes? Okay. Do you want me to do this again? Yes? Okay. So from the gel, we see the mass and the size. So we know it's 100 base pairs. So let's figure out the molecular mass. If it was 100 base pairs, it would weigh 6 times 10 to the 4th grams. Okay? But we don't have 6 times 10 to the 4th grams in that gel. We had 480. So I took 480 nanograms as 10 minus 9th, divided by molecular mass. To get units the same, I converted this to 4.8 times 10 minus 7th. 4.8 divided by 6 is 0.8. 10 to minus 7th divided by 10 to the 4th is 10 to minus 11. I therefore had 0.8 times 10 to minus 11 moles. And that was in 10 microliters. But units should be moles per liter. So I have to cancel these units. Oops, what am I doing here? 1 liter, right? This is the same as the number 1, where this is microliters. 1 times 10 to the 6th microliters this way. So when I do this math, I get 0.8 times 10 to the 5th moles per liter. Okay? This is simply a conversion unit to go from microliters to liters. Okay? Any questions on this? No? Okay. What one was that? That was number, I don't even remember anymore. 5 and 6. So we've done that. Now we're on to this one. Whoops, actually, we're going to do this. This was, so what I did was based on the emails. These are the most common. So let's do this one next. Page 18, number 43. And I did this because I wanted to get a sequencing one in here before we ended. Yes, question. Is that the final answer? I hope so. Okay. I think the question was moles per liter, right? So if that's the case, that should be the final answer. I'm sorry? Did I do the math wrong? 0.8, 1 times 0 is 0.8, 10 to the minus 11th times 10 to the 6th. Isn't that 10 to the 5th? What did I do wrong? Oh, you're right. Actually, so this should be to the 4th. Is that right? So let's just do this. This is going to be 10 to the minus 12th, right? So then this becomes to the 6th. Is that right? The negative. Oh, you guys, that's what you're trying to get me at. Let's do the negative that way. Okay. So I had 2 mistakes. One was I didn't take care of the 10, and I didn't make this a minus. Okay. All right. Is this all clear? Sorry. Okay. Now let's do the sequencing one on page 18, number 43. Number 43, page 18. Yeah, it's a lot harder when you're talking and writing on the board. I'm trying to move on to the next problem. Page 18, number 43. Okay. And the primer is, so it's radioactive DATP. And then we have a dideoxy-A in here, the ratio. Okay, so notice the primer anneals internally, and it should have the 3' end here. So we always extend in this direction. So the purpose of this was by having the primer anneal internally, you had to realize that it went off the 3' end. I think almost everyone got that. So let's figure this out. Realize there's millions of templates like this in a typical sequencing reaction. So I have a million like that. I'm not going to draw a million, but I will draw 3. And then to keep track, I'm going to put the primer in yellow so we can see where that is. And realize we have a ratio. So a subset will get the dideoxy-A here, and the rest will get DATP. And the DATP is what's radioactive, so I'm underlining that in orange. So right now I have molecules that are 4 long, 4, and 4, but remember these get to extend. So a subset here will get the dideoxy-A, a subset will get the DA, that is radioactive and it binds to that, and then we get a DT. Okay? So in this population, in this tube, I have a population that's 4 long, 5 long, and 6 long. Any questions about that? The reason why it's 6 long, it can't go any further, because that was the complete length of the template. It has nowhere else to base pair with. Okay? So 3 long there, dideoxy-A, these got DA, added the dideoxy-A, and some got DA, DA, and DT. Any questions about that? Now when we run them on a gel, we'll see a band, maybe at the 4th, maybe at the 5th, maybe at the 6th. But is there any radioactivity here? No. So will we see that band? No, because it's the DATP that's radioactive exposed in the film, so that band is never visible. So there's nothing at the 5th position, sorry, at the 4th. There is something at the 5th position. It is indeed radioactive. And at the 6th position, it's indeed radioactive. In fact, it's twice as radioactive for each molecule as this. So there'll probably be a really dark band at the 6th position, a band at the 5th, and nothing at the 4th. Do you want me to go over this again? Yes. Okay. All right, so let's start over. I have a million molecules of templates. I add my primer. It's all identical like this. So those primers can only anneal like this. I've drawn 3 molecules in that population of a million, but clearly I'm not going to draw the remaining 999,997. But there's 3. So a subset will get the dideoxy-A, because that's in that tube. There's a ratio of this. It is the ATP that is radioactive. And since this is not radioactive and the primer is not radioactive, this band will never expose the film. Even though it's there, you have no way of knowing it's present, okay? Now, during office hours, a student asked me, after we did a different sequencing question, they asked me, what would you get if you had radioactive DHP? I'm like, oh, that's a great question. I wrote it down. I was going to use it next semester. And then I looked, like, dang, I already used it, okay? So do you see how this band would not expose the film? Raise your hand if you do not see that. Okay, so everyone sees there should be no band at the fourth. But now let's do the fifth. Does this, it gets the DA, so it gets to extend, but they get the DA. So this molecule here is radioactive, and it will be at the fifth position, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it will expose the film. This molecule here gets the DA, the DA, the DT. It can't go any further because there's no more template to base pair with, so it can only be 3/6 long. It is indeed radioactive, in fact, twice as much as that, so we'll definitely see a band at the sixth position. Question. So, correct, we do not see no band at the fourth. Band here at the fifth, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 long, and a band at the sixth position. Is that correct? So this is 4 long, so it would migrate to the position that corresponds to 4, and it would not expose the film because there's no radioactivity. Okay? So we're going to move on. If you want to ask me further afterwards, we can go over it, but I think we need to move on, okay? Are we okay with this? Yeah? I mean, you guys get to determine, move on or not. Okay, what's the quick question? So the question's asking, at some point I made a comment that whatever's left over may expose the gel or something. It really depends upon the question, okay? So if you understand the concept behind it, you'll do okay, okay? No, because if you want to try to memorize rules, that this rule applies except in this case, except in this case, except in this case, it's just better to understand, okay? So the concept is that there's a population, that primer's anneal, that you extend, there's a ratio, and how do you visualize it? Do you have a radioactive primer? Do you have a radioactive DHP? Do you have a fluorescent dideoxy? How do you visualize the band? So the question you should ask yourself is, how am I visualizing to know there's a band there? Where's my primer annealing? And then what's the ratios, okay? All right, so it's 6:29 now. We just did this one. Let me look at number 46 quickly on page 60. I suspect it's a similar question. It is, and that's why I put it together. So let's quick do this one, and we'll see the concepts apply, and then after this one, we're going to take that break, okay? So go ahead and work on this. Okay, I'm actually going to work through this quickly so we can quickly this done. The primer for group 1 is radioactive. That's CAG. We have the 3' end here. We extend. This is for the dideoxy A tube. Is that correct? Yes, dideoxy A. So here I should get dideoxy A. Since it's the primer that's radioactive, I'll see a band at the fourth position. Another subset got the CAG. They got the DA, the DT, the DT, DC, DC, DC. And in fact, the others got the same thing, right? And I could do this for about 40 hours till I get the million, but I'm not doing that. Okay, now a subset gets the dideoxy A. Okay? This gets the DA, the DA, the DA. This subset gets the dideoxy A, the DA, the DA, and then we get a DT here, and a DT here. Since it's the primer that's radioactive, we'll see a band that corresponds to this length, which is 4. We'll get a band here that corresponds to, ignore this one. This gets, however long this is 10, thank you. I don't have the time to count it. 10 long, this is 4 long. This is 11 long, is that right? And is this 12? Yes? It's not efficient use of my time right now to count these. If you want, again, 3, 6, 9, 12. Yes, 12. But because the primer is radioactive, this band will expose the gel, expose the gel, expose the gel, okay? So we get one at the 4th, the 10th, 11th, and 12th. Now let's do the one that's using fluorescently labeled. It's going to be the same thing, except I'm not using radioactive primer here, so I get the CAG, but I am using a fluorescent here, so I get dideoxy A. That indeed fluoresces. That's 4 long. When I get here to the one that's 10 long, I get a dideoxy A. That fluoresces, so I see a band at the 10th. This one that's 11 long gets the DA, so I see there. And at the 12th position, we said the last one was a DT. Is there any fluorescence in this molecule? No. Will it? Can we visualize it? No. So we would see bands at the 4th, 10th, and 11th. Okay? So as I said before, what you need to do is ask yourself, where's the primer annealing? How are we visualizing it? What molecule, what reporter system are we? Question. Okay? So the question is, if the primer is radioactive, why didn't we see something here that was this long? Because there's no molecule that long because we don't have dideoxy C's in that tube. We only have dideoxy A's in that tube. That's the tube we did. So the essential difference between the two groups is what was used to visualize. In this case, it was a radioactive primer, which is why these molecules were radioactive. In this case, it was fluorescently labeled. With the dideoxys, there was no dideoxy A here, so you can see that band. Okay? So I'm going to take a 15-minute break. We'll start up again about 6:50.